Hey guys, so I was wanting to talk about something a little bit different today. The FN P90, or in this case the FN PS90, because this is the civilian semi-auto version. I've just got the barrel shortened using a Form 1. So I wanted to give some quick, kind of interesting information that I haven't seen a lot of people talk about, and even try and discredit some misinformation on these guys that I've seen floating around online. So one of the first things people tend to say is, wow, look how short that barrel is. That's gotta suck. You're probably not gonna have stabilized rounds. It's probably not gonna go very fast. Well, this is the barrel length. On a 20-inch overall length, that barrel is 10.4 inches, so it makes up more than half of the length. When it's all assembled, that barrel comes all the way back to here. That's pretty considerable. So, misinformation number one gone. Number two, man, that thing's gotta turn rounds. It kicks them out the bottom. That's got to be incredibly complex. Nope, you're looking at everything. This is it. This is the hammer pack. It sits in the back here. This is our moving parts group. You might notice it's a kind of monolithic bolt here. Everything's contained. It just rides on two guide rods. Simple blowback. Doesn't even need lockup. 5.7 is a spicy little round, but not quite hot enough to require the lockup. So it's very, very simple. You got the butt plate and the receiver. And yes, this is the actual firearm part of it. This stock, you could just go get another one. You can get them in green, you can get them in black. I believe Strike Industries is working on making their own. So in the future, you might see even different looking P90s. And this guy is actually the PS90 standard, P90 standard, whatever you want to call. It's got a nice groove down the middle of the receiver, so you could mount either a rail like most people do, or you can do the integrated optic, which is really, really neat. Let's see if we can get that on here. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to... Oh, there it is. Yeah, so it's kind of a T-bar with a circle in the middle. I'm not going to be able to get it in focus, but it's a really, really nice one, and you can adjust the brightness. One thing that's pretty cool about this that a lot of people don't talk about... Let's see if I can turn it off real quick. If I can turn it off real quick. Come on, buddy. There it goes. You've actually got two tubes. Now, obviously, this is cleared, and it's not going to be able to fire. So there's a tube at the top and a tube at the bottom. You look in that tube at the top, and you actually see out the bottom. This is blocked off here because there's a mirror. So the path actually goes like this. Oops, sorry. Along there, down, and forward. So you're seeing a lower point of view. So it helps the height over bore quite a bit. On either side, you got two holes there to mount a side rail. I just didn't want to because I like the more classic 90s look. Same goes with this flash hider there. This is the little bit earlier style, just kind of a curved edge there with a flat front, and then two forward-facing holes on either side to mitigate any sort of recoil. There's not much to begin with. I'm not quite sure what this little groove is for here. That may have been because I know Gemtech, I think, worked with FN really early on to make a suppressor that fits over that. I'm not sure if they still make them, but it's kind of a neat idea. So that's probably what that's for. And then it's got a kind of a wrench logo on there. You've actually also got a little hole here on the front of the receiver that integrates with a pin at the front of the stock. So it just helps it stay really positively maintained there, along with that big old button that sticks up. Because that's actually how that's held in place there. Another kind of funny thing that I've seen people talk about is, I never see it ejecting the cartridges in video games, so I wonder if it uses caseless ammunition. Well, nope. Here's a 5.7 by 28, very standard round. Obviously not caseless. I think what people must be referring to in not seeing the rounds eject is it ejects downwards. Straight out the bottom there. And there's even a little kind of a dust cover in there, which is funny because usually if you're holding it like this, how's dust going to come up? Whatever. So let's see what else. A really neat feature about this guy, because the hammer pack and everything that operates it is located in the back here, is you're actually perfectly capable of running these guys with a 3-position selector. It just doesn't affect how it works. You need additional parts inside this guy to run full auto. So you're perfectly legal to have these. And actually, multiple people do sell either the P90 selectors or aftermarket ones. People will tell you the aluminum ones are better and more reliable. It doesn't make a difference. It really doesn't. But so I'll show you the operation of that really briefly because it's cool. It's a progressive trigger, kind of like the Steyr AUG. And if you're familiar with that at all, this probably looks very familiar. So, assuming you're right-handed, you got 3 positions. Oops. Push that guy all the way forward. That's your safe. In the middle, the trigger can go back about that far. But in the full auto, the trigger goes considerably farther because that's actually pushing on more stuff. You can see there's a pin that would ride in a groove, but this just doesn't have, I'm not really sure what it is, but there's something different about the full auto hammer pack that makes that actually actuate. So, put her back on safe, and you can actually reassemble it. Seriously, the strip down of this and the reassembly is very easy. So, make sure your hammer's back, because if that's gone up, you're going to have a nightmare. So there's that. Put your butt plate on. The butt plate's actually retained by this little nub on the back of the moving parts group. And it's got this cool little guy here, just like a rate reducer and anti-bounce. I guess during development, when that guy went into the full forward position, it tended to bounce off of the chamber and spring back. So that takes the brunt of it, and now it securely locks up. So you get your moving parts group in there. Press the button down. Receiver's in, and voila, it's back together. To field strip, push the button in, pull the receiver out, pull the moving parts group out. That's it. You can field strip this guy in about 10 seconds. And it's very easy to clean. There's not a lot of lubrication points. Primarily, you just want to make sure that those guide rods have a little bit of lubricant on there. And then make sure that like your firing pin, your extractor, just make sure they're all moving nicely. Doesn't take much lubricant. A lot of people seem to think these magazines are very prone to failures. And if you've ever used one of these, you'd know how far from the truth that is. These are really no more complicated than a standard magazine. So here's one that's empty. You got a nice long spring that runs along the length with a follower. And then it's got 2 of these little captive rollers, I guess dummy rounds you'd call them. Actually, another thing here. I'm not sure why they have it. There's a little marker, 5.7 by 28. It's to scale with a cutout that perfectly holds the round. I'm not sure why that's there. It's just kind of cool. Hey there, buddy. Stop it. But actually, now that I've got this round, I can talk about something in just a second. Literally all this has is shaped ramps to get the rounds rotated. Because you can see on this guy, they're facing downwards, but by the time they come out, they're facing forwards. So you can pack them in there really, really tight. And also it gives you a really nice visual indicator of how many are left. I've just got 40 in here, but this is a 50 magazine. So onto that neat little feature. Most magazines you're going to buy pretty much anywhere come as 10 or 30 round. And if you're at all familiar with this platform, you know that these are designed to hold 50. So if you're in a state that allows you to have unlimited capacity on magazines, like for example me in Missouri, all you got to do, push in on that little button there on that floor plate. Come on. Slide that off. And this little plastic bit will have a spacer. Just break that spacer off, sand it nice and flat, put it back together. Voila, homemade 50 round magazine at no additional cost. Please obviously only do that if you're in a place that allows you to do it legally. Don't break any laws. I shouldn't have to say that. But it's also really nice because some places will sell the 10 round magazines for cheap. Because who wants a 10 round magazine? So you can often get a pretty good deal. So I'd recommend that. People also seem to think they've got to be difficult to reload. I mean, yeah, when you get to this point, there's a bit more spring tension, but it's not going to be all that different from any other rifle. Though this does operate a little bit more like a handgun, where you push down and back. It's not very difficult, though. You do that a few times, you really get the hang of it. And, of course, one of the things that video games love to rag on it for is the reloading. half the time they'll make it some long drawn out process, and that's kind of how they nerf it being such a high capacity. Well, it's not difficult. Slide it in, push it down. That's it. Now people will try and tell you, oh, you got to use both sides of that. Nope. Mag release, one side with your thumb, up and out. Next magazine. In, out. That's it. Man, it's super easy. Once you've done it a couple times, you really get the hang of it, and it's pretty satisfying. Especially that magazine sound. Like, you can pick that out from a mile away once you've heard these guys. And it's similar with other types of magazines. Like, I know ARs, AKs, they've got polymer magazines, but these guys have their own unique sound. And when you hear that done right in a video game, it's very satisfying. Actually, speak of video games, I don't have the tri-rail version. It's kind of rare for these. Though I have the Goat Guns version. This guy's a tri-rail. You can see it's got kind of the flat top Picatinny along with a little side rail on either side. These are pretty cool if you're a fan of the P90 but just aren't able to afford one. So, mag comes out. It shell ejects and everything. You can see them dropping out the bottom there. Yeah. That's pretty cool. I don't know. I'm not sponsored or anything. I just have one. I think it's cool. But yeah, that's just kind of a quick rundown on this platform. I think they're really neat. I enjoy talking about them. And I would love to show them off to people, honestly. I've had plenty of people ask me to try it when I'm out at the range, and it's really cool to see their reactions to using something so different, especially since a lot of people have so many misconceptions about them being just awful or unreliable. It's very low recoil, not tons of noise. It's very, very easy to use, and it's just intuitive. People complain about the hand position. It's comfortable. If you have really long arms or really big hands, you might have issues with it, but if you're of average size, plus minus a decent margin, you'll be fine with it. It just fits intuitively in the hands. It's made to be very comfortable, compact, no sharp edges to snag on anything. It's no wider than the average person's torso, so it can be stored very easily. You could throw that sucker in a backpack, in a briefcase. It's just a great little platform. So if you're ever out and about at a range and you see somebody using one, by all means, go bug them. They'll probably be nice enough to let you use it, especially since the ammo's gotten cheap. But yeah, if you guys have any specific questions about these, let me know. I'll certainly answer questions. Now, I'm not an SOT holder, so I'm not familiar with the full auto operation. I have used the P90. There's a range near me that has them. Can confirm it's very fun and automatic, but unfortunately, yeah, I'm not familiar with that. But any questions related to using these, maintaining them, I've been using this guy for just over 3 years now, and I really enjoy it. I've done a lot of research on them. So, yeah, let me know. And if you guys like this style of stuff, let me know. I've got a couple other weird ones that I could do some videos on, like the VZ61, the WZ96 Baril, or even just a simple AK. They're always a lot of fun, so hopefully this was worth something to somebody. Hope you learned something. So, cheers, guys.